He said that they had already talked to the consumers, and the consumers said that they wouldn't buy my doll. So he had the nerve to say that to me. So that was the time that I went to Undertaker and I asked Taker, would he go speak to Vince about what Laurinaitis just told me.
All right, another name, Batista.
Big Dave. I'll tell you a story about Batista, and I sit back and I think about it now. You know, one time when I was first starting WWE, it was WWF then, and I started refereeing, and they sent me down to OVW to referee. They had a show there in Louisville, and when I got to the airport, the guy that picked me up at the airport to ride me around and take me to the arena was Dave Batista.
Wow.
So, you know, and I look at that and I'm like, golly, here's a guy that picked me up to ride me around, and now he's one of the big stars in Hollywood. But me and Dave always got along too. He was such a real nice guy too, man. Batista, great guy, man. And he, like I said, he was a hell of a nice guy. And he didn't forget, you know, he didn't talk to me about, he joked with me about that one time. You remember, Teddy, you remember me picking you up? I said, yeah, well, how about we put me in one of these movies?
All right, here's another name for you. Rey Mysterio.
Oh, man, Ray, man, great guy, man. Had a chance to visit his home out in L.A. Was out there one time with Ray. I knew Dominik when he was a little bitty kid, and Ray's daughter also too, man. So I've watched Dominik grow up, all these years, and to see him involved in stuff now with his dad is absolutely great, man. You know, and the storyline with those two are really great. So Rey Mysterio, 619.
All right, we have Wrestle India from India. Whatever that means. I'm not sure what that is. They ask, who were...
Come on.
This will be interesting. Here we go. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. Who were the biggest during your time in wrestling?
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to let that ride, because it was quite a few of them. Okay.
In general, it's just like working anywhere else. If you're working in a huge business firm somewhere, there's everywhere. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to like you said earlier.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, they don't use to calling people's names, because all that does is stir up mess, and so I ain't here to stir up mess or negativity. But like you said, there's assholes in every job, anywhere you work. But in professional wrestling, there certainly were a lot of them. There were more of them than I've got fingers and toes.
Now, I would imagine that some of those were probably dealt with and stretched in certain cases, like it used to be in wrestling. I mean, you get out of line, they would stretch you a little bit and remind you that you need to get back in line. When I
was working, some of the wrestling guys were, but basically the main guys were the people that were not office people, just people, some like agents, in certain backstage jobs.
All right, we have Samson from Milwaukee who wants to know, why has there not been a Teddy Long action figure?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you a story about that, and I think that may be from John Laurinaitis, because I remember going to him one time and I asked him why didn't I have an action figure, and he said that they had already talked to the consumers, and the consumers said that they wouldn't buy my doll. So he had the nerve to say that to me. So that was the time that I went to Undertaker and I asked Taker, would he go speak to Vince about what Laurinaitis just told me. So maybe that's why I don't have one.
There's no reason for you not to have one. I know.
How can you not? I'm general manager of SmackDown.
Yes.
Like I said, they did make one with Mattel, but here's how they done that. They'd make somebody else's doll and they'd put a part of me in the doll, in that doll. So which means you got to go buy 3 or 4 or 5 dolls from people to finally get all the pieces to me to make that doll. So, I think they were just making something just to say they made something.
See,
I did have one. I had one, Jack's Pacific, I think, did some. And the guy from Jack's Pacific, he told me the same thing. What do you need with a doll? We don't make no dolls of people just walk around and talk. So that's what the Jack's Pacific guy told me. And so, but I did have a doll with Rey Mysterio. And then I was in another package with Ray and the Undertaker.
Now, for those of you who are collectors of these items, make yourself heard. I can't imagine that Teddy Long not being in your collection of action figures, especially from the Attitude Era and forward. I don't get it. I mean, I would think that they got a chance to make a ton of money because collectors will buy those as soon as they produce them.
They didn't want me to make any money. That's the key to that. You know, if they made money, they know that I would make money. So you got to understand, you know, people know that when you get money, you got power. So they don't want me to have money nor power. So that's the way I look at it.
Cooper in Texas writes, any road stories during your time with Doom? And for those of you who are not sure who Doom is, go look it up. But many of you probably already are aware that Ron Simmons and Butch Reed were the two inside Doom. Any great road stories?
Oh, man. Golly, man. I got
that you can tell.
That's what I was sitting here thinking about now. Anything that I can tell. Which let's see. Well, this wasn't a good road. This wasn't a road story. This was one that happened at the arena.
Okay.
One night, I forget. It might have been Boston, and Butch and Ron were in a tag, and they had already worked, and so they were done. So we're getting ready to go. So the guys had me to go pull a rib on Butch. They had to beg me too because I'm like, man, y'all know better than mess with Butch because I know it's gonna be a fight. But they challenged me, either you or Butch, which one is gonna be? So I'm like, okay. So I went to tell Butch the rib was to let Butch get dressed, get on all his clothes and get everything, get ready to go, and then go tell Butch that somebody didn't show up or somebody got hurt and now Doom has to work again. So Butch, he looks at me when I tell him that and he said, you playing? I'm like, Butch, please, I'm telling you, they said we have to work again, man. I said, I'm finna go get in my suit right now. So he looks at me and he kind of looked, but then he went for it. And so he ended up taking off all his clothes and put back on his wrestling gear and his tape, and taped his arms and everything. And so when he got ready to go, I was already out of the way. I said, I'm telling y'all, watch what happens when you tell. So they went to tell Butch that it was all a rib. Oh God, he got so mad. First thing he said, where's the goddamn Teddy Long? All he does is walk around in his goddamn seersucker suits and run his damn mouth. He don't do that. Oh, he just cut a promo on me out this world. He was looking for me too, so I had to get out of the building. So I didn't face him until the next day. So the next day, I think he was kind of cool off because he did start laughing about it.
I'd be worried the whole time he's going to get me.
I was. Oh, God, I was worried. Yeah, because Bush said, boy, he'd get you. He didn't play.
Chase in New England asks, you've been witness to backstage fights. What was the worst? And he mentions Booker T and William Regal.
I heard about that. I didn't see that, so I don't know what happened there. And the worst one, golly, man, this was probably maybe back in the day. If you remember, a lot of these guys may not remember Steve Dr. Death Williams.
Oh yeah.
And Road Warrior Hawk. God rest both of their souls. We was in Panama City, I believe. No, not Panama City, West Palm Beach, and we worked that night. At that time, I was refereeing, and so I think Hawk, one of them, they potatoed one or the other. And the potato means they hit him for real. Yep. So when so I seen Doc got mad, and so I was trying to get him out of the corner. So Doc reaches and he grabs me and he spins me around and he sits me in the corner, and he told me, "You stay right here, don't move." So I didn't move. So next thing I know, him and Hawk are just battling it out right in the ring. I mean, real fight. And it was so serious till what we kind of, I ring the bell, we kind of got him out. And once we got him out, they went straight to this back room. There was a room back there, and they both went in that room and they locked the door. And buddy, they just went at it with each other. And when they finished, they opened the door and they came out.
That's old school right there.
That's right, exactly, man. But I had never experienced nothing like that, so it scared me to death. I'm like, okay, don't worry, I'll stay right here.
As I said when we started the show, Bill Apter is on special assignment. He will be back with us next week. But this week, you got to ask Teddy, and we hope you enjoyed it. Teddy, we have time running out on us. I do want to check in with you and see if there's anything coming up we need to talk about.
Only thing that's coming up is our big event that you and I are going to be a part of on May the 12th in St. Louis. At the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Big show going to be there, and that's coming up. If anything else in the future, they can check out the Road Trip After Hours, our podcast that airs on YouTube on Friday nights. and we'll let them know. But right now, just a big deal coming up in St. Louis. The reason I ain't really been doing a lot of stuff, I think I mentioned it to you, Mac. I had a tree hit my house, so I've been having to kind of stay around, try to get all some of this work done around here.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass too, because you got these workers coming and going, excuse me, and it really messes your schedule up.